Now, there's been an increase in violent crimes in Gauteng in the fourth quarter. At least 61 children were killed between January and March this year. That's according to figures released yesterday by the Provincial Commissioner Elias Mawela. Overall, crime increased by more than 2,100 counts compared to the same time last year. The province's contribution to the national crime rate now stands at 27.2%. Criminologist Professor Kholofelo Rakubu joins us now for more. Professor, thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. We're marking Youth Day tomorrow, but of course, looking at the Gauteng crime stats, it's not very encouraging at all. 61 children murdered in Gauteng between January and March this year. What did you make overall of the Gauteng crime stats released yesterday?
Good evening to the viewers. My take from the crime stat is that Gauteng has a serious issue, a long-standing issue with violent crimes, because it is now evident that the measures that have been adopted to deal with a violent crime have short-term benefits, and they really have an impact on the factors behind violent crime in the province. Yes, I agree with the provincial commissioner when he mentions other socio-economic conditions, issues of migration, overpopulation, and so forth in Gauteng. But those should have informed their strategic planning with regard to ensuring there are resources in place when it comes to crime fighting in the province. And what I want to highlight is that when now they highlight comfortably indicate challenges with dealing with violent crime, they should reflect on the factors behind violent crime, because you cannot successfully deal with violent crimes when you don't tackle the causes which are individual, which are environmental, and which are social. So meaning what? Meaning this will require a multi-sectoral approach, multiple stakeholders on board, because if we deal with individual, environmental, police alone cannot do that. So this taps into their planning and challenges with their planning, that you will continue reporting about increase in violent crimes because you do not take into consideration critical issues that hinders effective implementation of the existing strategy. And remember, their strategies mostly are costly and time-consuming. However, we don't see results. So this is an opportunity for Gauteng to come and inform South Africa with regard to which measures are they going to review, because whatever is in place shows it's not working. So now, what is it that they are bringing on board to show that they take into consideration the increase? We don't want to hear of the increase anymore. We want to hear of you acknowledging the increase and telling us what you are going to do, or seek help should you not understand the real causes of the increase in violent crime. Population, yes, it will always continue to grow. Social disorganization has always been there. Then plan accordingly because of your socio-economic condition and social issues.
I hear what you're saying about that multi-pronged approach. I want to ask you about another element that that communities seem to be more and more worried about. And we see that in the fact that we see more and more community retaliation, mob justice, vigilantism. That came up in yesterday's report, all those incidents having increased, presumably because communities are frustrated that they're not seeing the results of policing and the justice system. I must add there as well, we know that public perceptions are influenced by media reporting, and there is a tendency to report more on crimes committed, but there isn't that much feedback in terms of when arrests are made, when successful prosecutions are achieved, and when people are successfully incarcerated. So tell us if we're wrong as South Africans in feeling that there is no justice, so criminals can simply get away with it.
South Africans are justified in their frustration. However, we must also understand that vigilantism occurs for many reasons other than fighting crimes. yes, communities are frustrated, but we do have a complex legacy of vigilantism. Vigilantism has been utilized before during apartheid to reflect. And remember, it has been used because of what? Revenge, prejudice, and emotions. So today, with the frustration, the very same people that are involved in criminality in other areas, they will resort to they will choose vigilantism when it suits them. You find that they now want to ban a particular individual for drug distribution. The very same person is a car hijacker in that particular community. If this deterrence, generic deterrence mechanism, which is vigilantism, was working, the level of crime would have decreased. It depends on communities, which one adopts vigilantism and for which reasons. Because in other areas, it has been due to politics. In other areas, the lack of cooperation or poor police-community relations and frustration. Indeed, South Africans are frustrated due to poor service delivery from the police side. And again, the very same community does not also want to take accountability with regard to crime involvement and protecting criminals, or also poor reporting. It is a two-way stream, but vigilantism, yes, it's frustration. And it's time now South Africans receive human rights education, because there's just level of lawlessness where now people don't even know the repercussion for vigilantism. Now, South African government should now prioritize and tackling vigilantism as a form of crime, because it will always add on the number of murders when we now hear of crime statistics. And also, the responsibility is in addressing the real and practical challenges of the criminal justice system, because they have been found to be contributing. Yes, communities are frustrated. They should be frustrated. However, let's meet each other halfway, because some of the causes of crime communities can deal with.
Absolutely. I agree with you. They're not advocating for vigilantism or mob justice in any form. I just wanted to understand that frustration, but you've cleared that up very well. Thank you so much. Last question, and we are unfortunately running out of time, so I'm going to ask for a concise answer here. But we did see a reduction of sexual assault, rape and contact sexual offences. Looking at the specific numbers comparatively, was this a significant enough reduction for us to celebrate? Because that's one area of crime that seems to be completely out of control in South Africa.
Rape reduction is a drop in the ocean. There are many sexual-related crimes that have not been reported. The reduction might not be that rape has not occurred. It might be that somebody was fearful enough not to even report, someone did not receive the necessary help they were looking for. There are multiple factors, South African factors, that might hinder or affected a particular victim to report. So let's just acknowledge that there's a decrease and look carefully and assess carefully, because we might have an increase in the next quarter. So let's assess thoroughly. There might have been factors. This is a pandemic which cannot just dramatically decrease. We acknowledge the decrease. It's a drop in the ocean. Let's proceed and see what worked. And then if something worked, then we can adopt and go forward. But for now, my suspicion is there has been multiple reasons. Rapes occur on a daily basis. Women are victimized on a daily basis. So we cannot celebrate as yet.
So we can't take these numbers just at face value. We need to look a little bit deeper and try and understand the reasons for certain decreases, and then look to see how we can further improve policing and the justice system. Thank you very much for your feedback on those stats released yesterday. That was Criminologist Professor Kholofelo Rakubu.